NFC East. Now, this one is always goes the direction that Vegas doesn't think. Vegas thinks the Eagles are going to win the division this year. 10.5 games over under. Cowboys at 9.5. The Giants at 6.5, and the Commanders at 6.5. Richard, let's cut right to the chase here. Is it going to be the Eagles or the Cowboys?
Well, Mitchell.
Oh, boy.
We'll start with the Cowboys. When's Micah Parsons getting paid? Have they got paid yet? No. When's Dak Prescott? You know, there was a very odd conversation from conversation with Jerry Jones, where they asked him about Dak Prescott. And he basically said, I love Dak Prescott as a quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. He's done a great job for us. And that's what you need is a great quarterback in this league. But you didn't say you're going to keep him. Because if you were saying you were going to keep him, you would say, we're working on getting this contract done. Just give us a sec. We're figuring it out. And we expect him to be quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys for a long time. That's not what he said. He didn't give anybody confidence that he believes in Dak Prescott or that Dak Prescott is the long-term answer in Dallas. And that, as an outside observer, for all Dak's faults, Dak was second team All-Pro last year. It is very rare you hear about a second team All-Pro quarterback being talked about like he's just a Joe, just a Jag, Mitchell, just another guy. And that's the way the Dallas Cowboys are treating Dak Prescott. They should be signing him up. Trevor Lawrence got $55 million. He's not better than Dak Prescott. He's not. I'm sorry. There's very few quarterbacks that can have an argument or a debate about better. Obviously, Mahomes is in the mountain, top of the mountain, not a question. Josh Allen's there with Burrow. They're probably right there, 1 and 2. Then it gets up in the air, Mitchell. If you like Lamar, it's Lamar. If you like Dak, it's Dak. If you like, if you like C.J. Stroud to be thrown in that mix, you can. Like, if you like Brock Purdy in that mix, you can. Mitchell, you'd be well within your rights to put those guys in it. Obviously, Aaron can fall anywhere in between there because 4-time MVP, don't count him out. But they're treating him like he's just a bottom-tier quarterback, and that's ridiculous. And that's why I don't have a lot of faith in him, Mitchell, because he doesn't have a lot of faith in him. So maybe they win this division because the way Philly ended last year, all day, always open, A.J. Brown was hurt, banged up. Maybe wasn't. I don't know. Wasn't playing. There was losing a lot of games in a row. I think they lost 5 or 6 or something at the end. It just didn't look like the team. And then you lose Kelsey in the middle, which is a much bigger deal than people are saying. It's going to put a lot more pressure on Jalen Hurts, who everything we've heard from training camp has done very well with the transition, put a little more pressure on him, a little more on his plate, and he's handled it beautifully. They paid A.J. Brown, so he's there. He's happy. Goddard is back. He's healthy. They got Saquon now. That's a big deal. Offensive line is still one of the best offensive lines in football, but without Kelsey, we're going to see a difference. Just understand that. It's going to be different. Defensively, Bradbury got injured, and however you feel about Bradbury, he's out. Keely Ringo, who should have been a first-round pick, fell a little bit in the draft, but is getting his chance to start for the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think he's going to do really well. He's going to be really impressive on the opposite side of Slay. Obviously, they drafted 2 corners, and neither one of them could beat him out. That says something. That's telling as well. They got C.J. Gardner-Johnson back, who was kind of their menace back there. And I think that's going to be really good for that secondary. I think they're going to get back on track. But Sirianni, if it's not a great season, I think there's going to start being a little bit of heat up under that seat. And I'll give it to Philly. Just because I don't see Dallas believing in their guys. You're not paying Micah Parsons. He's been 2-time first-team All-Pro, and you're not paying him because you guys aren't winning and you're ready to reset. Let Micah Parsons and Dak Prescott go somewhere else, Mitchell, and you'll see how much the rest of the league values them. If Jerry Jones doesn't value them, I guarantee you there's probably 30 other teams that are willing to show exactly. I think Tennessee Titans will be sitting there at Dak's doorstep at 12:01 a.m. when they can, with a Brinks truck and everything he needs. You need 10 acres in Tennessee, you got it. But I got Philly winning that division, Dallas coming in second. I think the Commanders come in third with Bobby Wagner, Dan Quinn bringing some stability to that franchise. Jaden Daniels kind of getting things back on track. I think they got a good D-line. Obviously, Bobby, Hall of Famer, linebacker core. The secondary is going to have to – they're going to have to learn. They're going to have to trial by committee. I think the receiving core is solid. Obviously, Scary Terry's been there. He's been consistent. Hopefully, Jaden Daniels brings them some more energy. But I don't see them winning that division. But they could surprise. They could. Maybe Jaden Daniels has a C.J. Stroud-like season and elevates that franchise to the promised land, and they upset Philly and Dallas. That's not out of the cards. But the New York Giants, Mitchell, I'm not going to walk away. Mitchell, I feel bad for the fans. I'm not going to lie to you. I feel frustrated because you let Saquon go. When you look at your team and you're like, we got Daniel Jones. Like, damn. But then you're like, oh, we got Saquon Barkley. Like, that makes me feel a little better. We got one of the best running backs. Like, you got Malik Neighbors, one of the best receivers in the draft this year. Going to be dynamic. Who's your running back? I don't know. Got two good tackles. Two really good tackles, which is what you need. Defensive line, you got a really good defensive lineman. They brought Adoree Jackson back into the fold to be on the opposite side. Defense will probably be solid, but you got Daniel Jones, Mitchell. No matter what you do, you come back and say, we paid Daniel Jones. And I know no matter how much Giants fans want to ignore that fact, it is glaring every single week. You saw in the preseason, he had another blunder play where you're just like, geez, Louise, this is their starter. This is the guy.
Well, they brought it up in HBO's Hard Knocks, the offseason. I don't know how much you had time to watch that, Richard, but they brought it in and they basically said, hey, we're willing to draft a quarterback here and we're willing to trade the 6th overall pick and a couple picks next year, too, to move up 3 spots to get that quarterback. That shows you what they think about Daniel Jones. Richard, but back to the Commanders, like you said, this is a dark horse team for me in the NFL as a whole, because if Jaden Daniels can come in, and he showed it at Arizona State and at LSU, he can take teams and elevate everyone around him. And you've already seen it with Commanders. They have playmakers on the outside. If they can get Terry McLaurin going, and Jaden Daniels has a similar season to C.J. Stroud, this could be a team that sneaks into the wild card and makes some noise, much like the Houston Texans did last year.